Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Tim Baghurst. I'm the Director of Sports and Coaching Science at Oklahoma State University, as well as run an outside consulting business for sports performance called GOAT Sports Performance. I've been asked by SASA, Stillwater Area Sports Association, to provide a few videos just as education for coaches, athletes, parents as well, on a variety of different sports related topics. And this first one I want to talk about is looking at the chances of making it to college as an athlete, and then looking a little bit at sports specialization, why kids quit sports. So I want to start just first here by looking at some numbers, and you can see on your left the different types of sports that you're looking at, the number of high school participants, and then NCAA participants. And you can see the numbers, they range from about 3 to 12. And again, this includes Division 1, 2, and 3. Division 3 is NAIA, where they may not even have scholarships. So again, if you look at these numbers, the numbers aren't great, and then you consider how many of these athletes actually have scholarships as well, and then the numbers become even smaller. So let's take another look here at women. Again, you can see some numbers are a little better there, especially in ice hockey. But again, it's because the high school participants is quite low compared to something like volleyball or track and field, where we're talking 400,000 or 500,000 participants. So once you start to look at that, you start to realize that it's difficult to get into high school sports, and then it's even more difficult to get into college sports, let alone professionally. And just recently, an article came out on early sports specialization, and it was a consensus statement. And essentially what this is a variety of people from different fields, professors, doctors, etc., got together and talked about sports specialization. And if you look at that background note there, it says early sports specialization is not a requirement for success at the highest level of competition and is believed to be unhealthy physically and mentally for young athletes. It also discourages unstructured free play, which has many benefits. Then look down at the results. The primary outcome of this think tank was that there is no evidence that young children will benefit from early sports specialization in the majority of sports. They are subject to overuse, injury, and burnout from concentrated activity. Early multi-sport participation will not deter young athletes from long-term competitive athletic success. And so what they're saying here is, look, if you put your child in a sport and you keep them in that sport and don't allow them to participate in other sports, and maybe you play this sport year-round, you're setting your child up probably for failure, whether they get burned out, they lose interest, or even worse, they get injured because of the overuse injuries of using those same motions, those same mechanics over and over and over. And so they're really here encouraging going against what many people believe, which is, I should have my child in this sport. If I don't, I'm going to fall behind. Some other kid is going to make it, and I'm not going to make it. I need to be in this team, that team, etc. But really what it's suggesting here is actually allow them to play a variety of different sports, because they'll develop other skills, less likely to be injured, and maintain interest. Here's another one. This is called the Fun Integration Theory towards Sustaining Children and Adolescent Sport Participation. And essentially what I want you to get from this is the background here, where it says children cite fun as the primary reason for participation in organized sport, and its absence as the number one reason for youth sport attrition being dropping out. So children are not participating in sports because it's not fun. So as coaches, think about that for a minute. Are you making your practices fun? I didn't say fun and not learning new skills or not working hard, but finding ways to make the activities that you're actually doing enjoyable. Because if you do, then these children will continue to come and participate because they enjoy it. The flip side, you could make practices very boring, very painful, very dull, and you are going to find that those children do not want to participate on your team. So it's important to recognize this. This is why children quit. And about 70% of children between 13 and 14 years old drop out of sport at that age. And it's a crucial component. Suddenly we go from from being fun to maybe not being fun, and then I'm not enjoying this, so why should I do it anymore? So take a look at this graphic on the right here. This is from Canada, and it applies across many countries, but it's called the long-term athlete development model. And what they said is that there's three components. There's physical literacy, you can see that at the bottom. There's excellence over on the left. And then over on the top right, you see physical literacy for life. There's three components or three phases that we can go through. If we start with physical literacy, we see under there three stages. Active start, which is just movement, being active. Learning fundamentals, which again focus on fun in the fundamentals. And then learning to train. And then as we progress as youth, we then start to train to compete, and train to win. But notice that the triangle gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And so in this model, about 1/3 are competitors as they progress into high school and college and adult life. About 1/3 remain competitive for life. The 2/3 are active for life. So what they're doing is maybe they're walking, maybe they're participating in jogging or cycling, but it's not really competitive, it's just physical activity. So if we go back to the active start fundamentals and learn to train, understand that here is where we develop those young children to youth by providing the fundamental skills that they need in order to be successful, whether it's training for competition or being active for life. Well, let's take a look at some quotes from some different people. Dom Starja here, a lacrosse coach from the University of Virginia, says, my trick question to young campers is always, how do you learn the concepts of team offense in lacrosse or team defense in lacrosse in the off-season when you're not playing with your team? The answer is by playing basketball, by playing hockey, and by playing soccer and those other team games, because many of those principles are exactly the same. Probably 95% are multi-sport athletes. Think about that, 95%. It's always a bit strange to me if somebody is not playing other sports in high school. What about Pete Carroll, we know from USC and also the Seattle Seahawks? The first questions I'll ask about a kid are, what other sports does he play? What does he do? What are his positions? Is he a big hitter in baseball? Is he a pitcher? Does he play hoops? All of those things are important to me. I hate that kids don't play 3 sports in high school. I think they should play year-round and get every bit of it that they can't get through that experience. I really, really don't favor having to specialize in one sport. Nick Saban, who we all know from the University of Alabama. I see the mistake of tunnel vision, especially in youth sports. Instead of letting kids play 3 or 4 sports all the way through high school, parents are encouraging or forcing their kids to pick up one sport as young as 7 or 8. Their rationale is that for them to be successful at that sport, they need to concentrate on it as early as possible. But if a young person plays various sports, he or she actually develops more skills and is exposed to more competitive situations, which can later affect development in a positive way. And then last, Tim Corbin from Vanderbilt, baseball coach. I don't like it. When a young man or woman invests all their time in one sport, there is a feeling that they will develop more in that sport. I think there are both mental and physical issues with that. I think kids get stale. There are some overuse and injury issues. Developing athletic skills is paramount to no matter what sport you're doing. So I'm of the opinion of really, really branching out. I always tell parents, let your kids play other sports and they'll develop. I don't like the pressure we put on kids to specialize in one sport. I think it hinders their growth. And so what all these examples are suggesting is that sports specialization early on in life for children is a bad idea. And really, they should be playing at least a couple of sports through high school. Maybe they specialize into one sport junior, senior years, but before that, they should be trying out a variety of sports, because who knows? Maybe they're really, really good at a sport that they've never tried before. So as coaches or parents, I really encourage you to think about how you're teaching children sports. Are you using fundamentals? Are you focusing on the fun aspect? Are you developing core skills, or is it all about winning? Is it all about success right now? And That's really an issue that I encourage you to ponder, because if you're not doing that, if the focus is on making sure that they win now, making sure that they develop for this tournament or that tournament, the reality is that you could be harming them, not only psychologically, but also physically. So here's SASA's information, and my information, if you have any questions for me, is over on the right on my website, www.goatsports.pro. Until next time though, thanks for watching.